I thought you were getting carried away there, so I walked up here. Everything is very good. The Lord is good. And all the time. And that's his nature. Thank you. Wow. I've got quite a bit. Like I told you, this is rich stuff. So make use of your pen and paper. This is a very important section, but I still need to go a little quickly because we are also going to take some time praying together. This next section I have entitled, Watch What You Watch. Watch what you watch. What do you watch? What are your eyes looking at? What have you seen lately? Well, of all the things that you look at, don't look at nakedness. So the first thing I'd say, talk about is first of all the whole issue of nakedness. And I watch what you watch. One, nakedness. When God created Adam and Eve, who clothed them? They put on, they sewed fig leaves, isn't it? But what did God do to them? God clothed them. Eventually what they wore is God who clothed them. And we should learn from that. God doesn't want us walking around naked, does he? So why do people hang up pictures of naked people? Leviticus 18, 6 to 18 talks very clearly about nakedness and not looking at naked bodies. If you just start from verses 6, and particularly in the New King James, it talks about nakedness. Verse 7, the nakedness of your father or nakedness of your mother shall not uncover, you shall not uncover. On and on. Verse 10, the nakedness of your son's daughter or daughter's daughter. Some Bibles do not use the word nakedness. Whatever is put there is nakedness. And the Bible says very clearly that nakedness is a taboo according to the scriptures. We should not be looking at naked bodies. The story of Shem, Ham, and Japheth in Genesis 9, 18 to 27 clearly indicates this. Nakedness also symbolizes shame. There's a part of the Bible where the Lord says he's going to be so angry with you to show you defeat. He'll lift your skirts over your head. That is shame. Symbolizes shame. Nakedness also carries a curse with it. Again, you can refer to the story of Shem, Ham, and Japheth. You know what? Many of us, the communities we come from, who walks around naked, apart from little kids? Madmen. Madmen. So if you're there in pornography watching naked body, you're a madman or a mad woman, for want of a better word. In Revelations 3:5, the writer refers to us being clothed in white. That is what we're supposed to be clothed in righteousness. In Isaiah 61, 9 to 11, he has clothed me with righteousness. So instead of nakedness, we're supposed to be clothed in righteousness. That can be symbolic also. You wear the right stuff. So I just wanted to establish that whatever is termed as nakedness is shame, a taboo, and a curse. The second thing about watch what you watch is the whole thing of movies. I know some of you married people have spouses who watch horror movies, extraterrestrial, X-rated movies, X-rated. And the more X's there are there, the more gleeful they are. Oh my goodness, let me watch this. And if a movie is X-rated, what are they mainly showing? Naked bodies. What have we said about watching nakedness? It's a madness, first of all. It's a curse. It's a taboo. But let's get to a bit more serious stuff. Horror movies have been known to give people demons. Demons can enter you through a movie. I'm not suggesting, I'm telling you. Because we have dealt with people, we've taken people through deliverance. The spirits have told us where they came from. They came from the time the guy watched a movie. In one case, one of our sisters in our ministry dealt with a lady or a young person who had a snake spirit that came in through a Harry Potter movie. That snake in the Harry Potter got entry. So take movies seriously. Take movies seriously. Do you believe that a movie can create trauma? Yeah, because some people watch movies after that, they cry and cry and cry and can't sleep at night. Oh, that guy should not have killed that lady. She was not wrong, how killed her. You're traumatized by a movie. But we know that what breaks the wall? Trauma can break a wall. It can break your wall. And even a movie can do that. Because we also know people can receive Christ after watching a movie. How much more then can Satan also not use that? All I'm saying, let us be selective about what you're putting in our minds through the movie. Another thing is that movies can defile you. You can be defiled by a movie. The question is, what are you feeding your mind on? Are you in control of your body? Your mind is part of your body. Or are you letting some producer control your mind? And by the way, have you noticed how these movie actors normally end up? They end up, most of them commit suicide, is into 14 marriages, terrible lifestyles. Why? One of the movies what's the name of this actor? Mrs. Doubtfire, I keep forgetting his name.
Robin Williams.
Robin Williams. There's a movie he was acting that required him to acquire a spirit so that he can act according to what the spirit wants him to do. How foolish can one be? You're allowing the spirit to come so you can act. What makes him think the spirit left? It has found a new home. So we must be very careful about the movies we watch. We must control our minds. Let me come to number 3 in terms of what you watch. Coming to the area of pornography. Pornography is Satan's way of ruining one of God's most sacred creations, which is sex. Sexual perversion and immorality has reached unprecedented levels, and I'm sure you agree with me. So nowadays, the word sex is used for cars, for a passion. Hey, the weather is sexy today. It's so sexy. It has been chillified. I mean, it's just thrown around as well. Why is Satan allowing that to happen? So you get used to this thing. Get used to sin, so that when you sin, you don't realize it. You no longer hold anything in high esteem. Satan's idea is to counter whatever God does. If God does good, he does bad. If God is white, he'll be black. He just does the opposite. So in this case, Satan wants to make us cheapify what God has held in high esteem. The saddest thing about pornography is that it is very rampant in the church today. Very, very rampant. So I think we should be very, very careful. The thing I find about pornography in the church is that the percentages are chilling. When I was in Botswana as a missionary, I was part of a team that did a survey in a church. And we found out that the church we used to go to, and it was a church of 600 people. And after doing a survey about people who were struggling with pornography and wanted out, that was very interesting. They are struggling with it and they want out. But you remember that closet? They will not let go. Okay? And 67%, I read my lips, 67% of the men in the church were in that category. In pornography, wanting a way out. 67. I thought to myself, something must be wrong. But the papers were there. There were no names, but the papers were there. There were 45% of the ladies who are also in that state. It's in the church. So we cannot bury our heads in the sand. How does this spirit enter? It enters, since pornography is one of ogling and looking and viewing and seeing and sharing, it comes in through the eyes. When you cast out the demon of pornography, it normally checks through the eyes also. Luke 11:33 to 36. The eye is the lamp of the body. And if the eye is dark, how dark will that body be? Same passage in Matthew 6:22. And pornography, what gives it the strength is that it preys on man's curiosity. And that's why small boys want to climb the wall and see the girls bathing. It's just curiosity. They are very curious. But that's where it starts. So you ask, so why did you see a girl bathing? Just drawing things on the ground with his feet, doesn't know what to say. Proverbs 4:25 says, let your eyes look straight ahead and your eyelids look right before you. The whole idea of look in the right places. Don't look in the wrong places. So pornography enters through the eyes, and secondly, it also comes in through inheritance. I'll be talking about that a little later on, but for not just know, it comes through the generations, through inheritance. What's one of the ways it can come? And thirdly, it can come in through lack of self-control. It's tempting to climb the wall and watch the girls bathing, but I will not do it. It's wrong. Remember what he said? What breaks the wall? Lack of self-control. There it is. That lack of self-control can break the wall so that pornography enters. Okay, let me give you a few tidbits about pornography. And I told you why I think this is an important thing. Many, many people are struggling with this. The porn demon is part of one of the biggest demon groupings. I told you that demons come in groups. You mentioned that, eh? They operate in groups for effective deployment. Now, the group that pornography falls under is one of the biggest. That means it's got many tentacles. Bestiality comes under porn. Rape, masturbation, homosexuality, harlotry, frigidity, prostitution, fantasy lust, adultery, incest, lust, lesbianism, exposure, and listen to this, schizophrenia also falls in that group. I'll explain to you why in a moment. Mind control, child molestation, pedophilia. A very big group. So they are well covered. They've covered the human race. Any which way you try to go, you could get there through the porn demon. How does schizophrenia fall in there? Well, it's easy. You know, when I'm involved in pornography, nobody must know. And that's why pornography is bad, because it's hidden. Hey, that's anyhow, you minimize that screen very quickly. So you're talking, everything is okay, let's close it. So you end up having a split personality. And that starts off as a joke, but it ends up being schizophrenia. So you get comfortable to being a dual personality. It's comforting because I can have my cake and eat it. So that's how schizophrenia falls in that department. Only the occult demon grouping is longer. I will not go into that. But this is one of the biggest groups. Pornography, I'm giving you some more points now, defiles your mind and eventually the body. Again, mind controlling spirits. It defiles your mind, and when your mind is under control, it defiles the body. And my famous statement is here is, he who controls the body does what? Controls the mind. If you know the story of the chicken and the eagle, how an eagle laid an egg, it rolled under a hen that was brooding. When it hatched, it grew up with chicks, so it was scratching like the chicks. So the eagle grew up thinking it was a chicken. Till one day he discovered he could fly. But until that point, the mind control was that he scratched for worms instead of killing rats and hair. Mind controlling spirits. So the other spirits are corrupted mind, depraved mind, perverted mind. All those are mind controlling demons. They just tweak their name a little bit. Perverted mind, depraved mind, corrupted mind. I used to talk about a colleague of mine in school when I was in Form 6. Form 6, those beautiful days, you had your own cubicle. I know that is Greek to many of you nowadays. But in our days, you had your own cubicle, 8 by 10. All to yourself. Bed on one side. Oh, those are the days, man. But this guy had a huge poster of a naked woman on his wall. Actually, it was not on his wall, it was the ceiling, just above his bed. Huge, stark naked lady smiling at him. Now, I always used to ask myself, what is the last thing he sees before he goes to sleep? And what's the first thing he sees when he wakes up? And when it's time to think and he looks up, what does he see? So, that is now what you call a perverted mind. When he has grown up and when he's out of high school, and you hear that there's a rapist in the village, who will you suspect? You don't need to think far. Because of the perverted mind, the depraved mind, you don't have to think far. The mind is shaped by what you feed it, guys. It is not rocket science. What you feed it is what it will become. Here's what. Pornography degrades women. It's normally women who are flaunted out there as the naked this, the naked that. But it tempts men. It degrades women, tempts men, and dishonors God. So we all in it. If you're in pornography, either it degrades the women or it tempts men, but God is dishonored in both cases. An important point about pornography, if I'm going fast, please do excuse me, it's a lot here. We need to pray also later. Pornography is very tough to get rid of. Again, this is not a suggestion, I'm telling you what I know. It is very tough to get rid of. For me, I've watched people trying to come out of it. It's taken years and years and years. Why? Maybe that's a more important question, is why? Because it's got so many tentacles, it has multiple altars. There are very many altars that can take you to pornography. And then, for example, curses associated with nakedness. Once you're ogling at those things, already you're cursed before you even go far by the Lord Himself. Another reason, so multiple altars. Also, another reason, it is done in secrecy. No, wounds that are covered normally fester and become very bad. So this is done in secrecy, where there's no accountability. So it makes it very tough to get rid of. Because once you've been prayed for, the Spirit comes and whispers to you. Since you're used to being schizophrenic and you're used to listening to those quiet spirits, they whisper to you and you're taken back. So it's done in secrecy. That's what makes it very lethal. And then also, here's the worst part of all of this. Our human nature is in league with the spirit of pornography. They are strange bedfellows, if I can say that. Our sinful nature gravitates towards pornography. And that's why it's tempting. Sin is fun, or else nobody would sin. Yeah, so it's very tough on us because the human nature is yearning to be a friend of pornography. And even after deliverance, it's a habit that you have to kick out. Aggressively kick out. It multiplies very rapidly because other associated spirits have come in. Remember those spirits we read? They're all knocking on the door waiting to come in. And so when you're in pornography, you just seem to get worse by the day. Because you're open. All those other spirits will come in. I'll give you the illustration of two people who are high-flying bosses in a company. And they go out of the country every once in a while. One of them is hooked on pornography, the other one is not. So they go to a meeting in Geneva, and in the evening, it's time to go and relax in the room. So they're relaxing in the room, and one of these pimps comes and says, "Man, you want somebody to warm me up in the night?" They say, "No, I'm all right." What will the guy who's in pornography do? The guy is gone. The guy is gone because of the background that he has. He has no chance. First of all, the secrecy. He operates in secrecy. So this is being done in secret that he doesn't even think about. Secondly, because of what he's been watching in pornography, now it's been offered to him. So if you are in pornography, if you know anybody in pornography, they are already in danger before the temptation even comes. So that's the other thing about pornography, which I think is very bad. It multiplies rapidly because of those other doorways. The last point here, it is reinforced by media. You don't agree with me. You find that you're looking for a car to buy, extreme. Suddenly you find a beautiful picture with a naked woman standing next to it. What has this lady got to do in the car that I'm looking for? It's everywhere, everywhere. So it makes it just that much more difficult to deal with. So brace yourself. Here's another serious point. Pornography, and I'll put it in bracket, and immorality defiles the land. It defiles the land. And I'll give you Jeremiah chapter 3 and verses 23. No, not 20. Is it 23? No, it's 3:3. Rather 2. Jeremiah 3:2. Sorry for confusing you. Lift up your eyes to the desolate heights and see. Where have you not lain with men? By the road you have sat for them, like an Arabian in the wilderness, and you have polluted the land with your harlotries and your wickedness. Therefore the showers have been withheld. God is cursing the land because of people being involved in immorality and in pornography. And if you notice a place where there's a lot of immorality, usually there is a lot of drunkenness, poverty, the economy is not good, murder, lethargy, because the land is cursed when we are involved in pornography. Another painful one here. Be ye warned. It defiles your children, whether born or not. Because like you are taught by Pastor Nelly, your children who are not born are in your loins. And as you get involved, you're cursing your children. How? Of course, through generational curses. The soul that sinneth shall die. And if you're involved in pornography, that is sin. It opens a doorway for it to be replicated to your children, the subsequent generations. Proverbs 25:28. Whoever has no rule over his own spirit is like a broken down city without walls. So if you have no self-control, not only are you cursing the land, you are also cursing your own children. And since I said that pornography is very difficult to get rid of, it is difficult to give somebody 1, 2, 3 set of rules to follow, so you're okay. No. But let me give you a few points that may be helpful, especially for those of you who want to help others. Those in pornography need deliverance. Nothing short of deliverance will get them out. Matthew 12:29 talks about binding the strong man. The strong man needs to be bound and cast out before pornography can go. Then Matthew 11:12, the kingdom of God is taken by violence. So deliverance is the beginning point for pornography and immorality. Again, another possible solution is to involve a second person. Involve a second person, because you cannot save yourself. I'm talking about somebody, a Christian who has tried everything and is defeated. You cannot do it by yourself. Was it Galileo who said, Give me a place to stand and I'll move the earth. If you're standing on the earth, you can't move it. If you're sitting in a car, you can't push it to start. Somebody has to go outside and push it. So you need outside intervention to help in the whole issue of pornography. I'll move on. Number 3 is you remove sources of the material or change the situation. In other words, you must remove the cancer before you begin getting healing. Computer, put a filter in there, magazines, throw them away, DVDs. By the way, a lot of our children are being given illegal DVDs in school, starting from class 3, 4, 5. How do you get pornography? My friend gave me a DVD when I was in class 3. He was doing his rounds in the class and I got it. So those are things that need to be removed. If you have got friends who are always cracking lewd jokes, you need to leave that company. Mark 9:47 says, if your eye causes you to sin, pluck it out. Why? Better to enter heaven, jicho moja, than get into heaven and go to hell with both eyes. Right? The movie Fireproof, how did the guy get rid of the source of pornography? He smashed his computer with a bat. Smashed it and broke it completely. He dealt with it severely. So we need to remove sources of the pornography. Here I come back to the other word I talked about. Read the word. Read the word. A lot of the word has to be read. Because the word has a cleansing effect. It reprograms the mind. One of the things you can also do apart from reading is to memorize scripture under the reading, the word part. 5 is worship. We talked about worship. Saul, you get a demon in the Bible, King Saul, and David played music to drive out the spirit. You remember that? So worship is good. If you worship many, many times, it's part of the battle is won. I remember a psychiatrist friend of ours who was also involved in Deliverance. He would play worship music when he was doing a deliverance session. He would play nice worship music. One day the spirits were throwing shoes at the cassette player. Those days they were cassette players. They were taking things and throwing. They wanted that thing to be quiet. They eventually left. So music, worship is good for somebody who is struggling with an issue like that. On a more serious note, make a covenant with God. I commit my eyes to you. I'm making a covenant with you that with all my strength, I will take control of my body, but I will not get involved in pornography. Rededicate those eyes to the Lord and make a new sanctuary in your house for the Lord. Then, of course, you renounce that spirit. Each time it comes, let it hear you say out loud every time, I hate you, spirit of pornography, and I command you to leave. Each time it comes, I hate you and I command you to leave. Those are a few points that would begin to help somebody to get out of pornography. But the major one for me is deliverance. Then get somebody with meddling rights in your life, an accountability person to walk with you. Right now I've got 3 people I'm trying to help out of pornography, and there's a program on the internet that tells me what sites they are looking at. And it's like I get a weekly report with their permission. So if it's good this month, I say, hey man, you've done very well. What happened last month? Hey man, I was discouraged. I was in the wrong company. So you walk along somebody like that. But on your own, it may be difficult. I want to leave it at that. I thought it would be important to talk about pornography because it's a big, big issue now. I'm on the final leg before we begin our prayer times. One of the things I would highly recommend once you have been through deliverance